Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla.
All right, I forgot to add myself to the stream. Hi, this is Faith. I'm back. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do in one day, but I just had to come back again, y'all. This has been a crazy day, I was just over at Chantel's panel a few hours ago, and we had a really lively discussion over there because we were discussing Umar Johnson, and he was up there, doing his little what do you call it, pander bid, for black women, talking about the whole Carlee Russell situation, how he would just take her into his arms and hug her and all of that. And anybody that has been here at the Faith Factor, anybody that knows me, you already know how hard I went in for Carlee Russell. Okay, I did the absolute goddamn most. Okay, trying to come up with an alibi, any excuse. You know what? I will hold the L right now. Okay. Y'all been coming back to that video in the comment section, different ones, y'all. Yeah, I had to come back and rub it in your face, Faith. You were wrong. Okay. I'm going to let y'all have that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and mark this date. What date is it? It's Sunday, July 30th. Okay, and the Faith Factor has acquiesced. I will bend the knee. I will say I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. And it's so crazy because when I look at this sister in this photo right here, this is Carlee Nicole Russell. They have her full government name on display in this photo. And I'm looking at how she's taking this picture. She's in the picture with a great big old smile on her face. Honey, do you know that you just got arrested? Do you know that, hey, the jig is up and they trying to throw the book at you. They trying to think of more to charge you with. But you over here in the jail photo with this big goofy smile on your face. And I look at this picture because this child, this young woman is the same age as my daughters. And my heart breaks. I can only imagine what your parents are going through. But when I see this picture, I don't see anybody that's remorseful. I see somebody who might be crazy. I still think you're crazy. I still think you need some mental evaluation. I still think this. And it's just sad. Oh, it's so sad. So I was really, really shocked when the next thing that hits my news feed is this mugshot. This is a mugshot of two actual kidnappers that actually drug a girl by her hair who was standing at the desk at a hotel, and it's caught on camera. So for the people that don't know what a actual kidnapping is, Carlee, if you're out there, if you ever see this is what an actual kidnapping is. These are real kidnappers. You got the clueless looking, monkey faced dude over here on the left, and the bitch on the right, she looks scary. And she is scary. She was even more vicious than the man. And I'm going to play the video so you know what I mean. Because I was scared looking at this. I couldn't believe it. Hold on a second. Is this the right thing? Well, how is it that my stuff is always messed up every time I get on here? Hold on, y'all. I got to get my whole life together. I'm over here thinking that I got the thing up here and I ain't got nothing up here. I have to close that tab. Lord have mercy. Every time I'm in my show, there's always some fuckery. But at any rate, let me go ahead and try it again. I have the video up here that I want to share with you. And I just want to warn people, this video is extremely graphic. So if you're the type of person that don't like to see violence, you might want to click off and, look somewhere else or whatever, because this is very graphic. It's very scary. But this is what kidnappers and sex traffickers on the really, really violent and really, really horrifying level looks like. They look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and you guys, just like I said, brace yourselves.
Surveillance video from the lobby of a Henrietta Microtel on Lehigh Station Road Wednesday shows a woman being ripped from the front desk by her hair and punched while being dragged through the entrance by a woman deputies identify as 27-year-old Shantiana Sims of Rochester.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I had the banner up there still. Let me play it again.
Surveillance video from the lobby of a Henrietta Microtel on Lehigh Station Road Wednesday shows a woman being ripped from the front desk by her hair and punched while being dragged through the entrance by a woman deputies identify as 27-year-old Shantiana Sims of Rochester. It's at the front doors where the video shows the victim is then picked up off the ground and carried outside by who deputies say is 27-year-old Cordell Brooks of Rochester.
Victim was being trafficked or prostituted by the two suspects.
MCSO's Major Crimes Unit, along with its tactical team and the Rochester Police Department, searched several different addresses before finding the two suspects and the victim parked in a car on Joseph Avenue and Sullivan Street in the city just hours later.
Who knows what would have happened, but for sure she would have been held there against her will for a longer period of time.
Sims and Brooks now charged with second-degree kidnapping and second-degree assault, both felonies. As for the victim, she was sent to the hospital with what's being described as non-life-threatening injuries.
Our victim's advocate and our victim services people were sent to the hospital and are dealing with her now. I think they've engaged outside services to try and help.
MCSO says they're still investigating the incident to see if any more charges will be filed.
Now to our other top story tonight, a disturbing
Now, that is what you would call a kidnapping. That's an actual kidnapping. And that's like on the more harsher levels, because sex trafficking, I just want to be clear. Sex trafficking isn't just people that you don't know and just people that's just grabbing you and just dragging you, over to somewhere. It's usually somebody that you know. It's usually a boyfriend. It's usually somebody that befriended you and you trusted them. Is usually something like that. You rarely do you see a kidnapping and sex trafficking that graphic. That was scary, y'all. That was absolutely scary. I mean, the hairs stood up on my neck when I watched that video. And couldn't believe it. And did you see how brutal the black woman was? I mean, she didn't just drag her from that desk, like, maybe grab her around the waist or, grab her shoulders. She drug her out of there by her hair. And all of it was on camera. Every last moment of it was on camera. And the person that was standing behind the desk didn't do anything. Nobody tried to stop them. I guess somebody called the police. Maybe the person at the front desk did. You know, maybe she was at the front desk trying to get help and they overheard her, and that's why they drug her out of there. But they said that she was with these people for a few months. Can you imagine the horror? So, you know, when I think about what Carlee Russell did, I think about the poor women that are in this position. And no, the faith factor doesn't think that what Carlee did is something to be taken lightly. I do believe that Carlee does need to be punished for her crime, because she committed a crime. Sure enough, she committed a crime. I think that, you know, she should definitely get some sort of community service. She definitely should have to pay a fine. She should have to pay back whatever money it took to pour into resources looking for her. And she should have to undergo court-ordered mental counseling. I really believe that all those things should happen. BMT, yeah, I think because she does not have a prior criminal history, I don't think she'll get a full year. She's going to do some time in jail, though, because of the media backlash. She's going to do some time. But I do know that the penalty in Alabama for that particular crime that she did, making a false police report, it is a minimum of 1 year or probation. So she could just only get probation, and she's a first-time offender. So all of us have to take that into consideration. Right, Demetrius, maybe 3 months, 6 months. They're not going to throw a full book at her, I don't think. Yes, Monique, I think she needs mental help too. I don't think that she's completely well at all. But when I see videos like the one that I just showed you, and I'm just going to play it again for good measure, because I want you all to see how vicious the black woman was in dragging that lady out of there. That was, I don't know. I got chills. I got chills looking at that. That was scary. That's not something that I would want to happen to
Surveillance
anybody.
video from the lobby of a Henrietta Microtel on Lehigh Station Road Wednesday shows a woman being ripped from the front desk by her hair and punched while being dragged through the entrance by a woman deputies identify as 27-year-old Shantiana Sims of Rochester. It's at the front doors where the video shows the victim is then picked up off the ground and carried outside by who deputies say is 27-year-old Cordell Brooks of Rochester.
Victim was being trafficked or prostituted by the two suspects.
MCSO's Major Crimes Unit, along with its tactical team and the Rochester Police Department, searched several different addresses before finding the two suspects and the victim parked in a car on Joseph Avenue and Sullivan Street in the city just hours later.
Who knows what would have happened, but for sure she would have been held there against her will for a longer period of time.
Sims and Brooks now charged with second-degree kidnapping and second-degree assault, both felonies. As for the victim, she was sent to the hospital with what's being described as non-life-threatening injuries.
Our victim's advocate and our victim services people were sent to the hospital and are dealing with her now. I think they've engaged outside services to try and help.
MCSO says they're still investigating the incident to see if any more charges will be filed.
Now to our other top story tonight, a disturbing kidnapping at a Henrietta hotel caught on camera.
I look out the window and I saw that two people were dragging a girl out of the front door and they just threw her into the back seat of the car.
Those two suspects arrested after they were seen on video dragging that victim out of the hotel. Good evening to you. I'm Matt Malloy. The victim later rescued in the city of Rochester. 13 WHAM's Carla Rogner has more on that investigation tonight. Carla, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Matt. According to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, the victim was being prostituted by the suspects. The video is disturbing, but authorities say it's important to see because it depicts the reality of sex trafficking.
It took me a good few minutes to question whether or not if I was actually dreaming when I saw that.
Jordan Burkett was sound asleep in his hotel room when he woke up to the sound of a woman screaming.
I look out the window and I saw that two people were dragging a girl out of the front door and they just threw her into the back seat of the car.
Concerned, he dialed 911. Security camera from the Microtel Inn shows what Burkett saw. A woman being dragged from the front desk of the hotel and out the front doors by two suspects, now identified as Cordell Brooks and Shantiana Sims, both 27 years old and from Rochester.
She kicked the door open. She tried to get out. She was halfway out of the car. The car started speeding off and they pulled her back in.
We put a lot of resources very quickly into trying to find this woman. Like we said, it was obviously a very physical, very violent crime. We certainly didn't know what the outcome of that was going to be if we didn't find her in a timely fashion.
About 9 hours later, around 3 p.m., authorities arrested the two suspects in a traffic stop on Joseph Avenue and Sullivan Street in the city of Rochester. Deputies say the victim was taken to a hospital with injuries.
Oftentimes we talk about prostitution and we say it's a victimless crime, but it really isn't. And this woman was definitely a victim, and ultimately a victim who was in great physical peril due to what was going on. Her life circumstance put her in a place where this is the way she had to survive. This is what sex trafficking is, what abduction is, what kidnapping is. That's that video is it's not a victimless crime in any way.
After witnessing the horrifying crime, Burkett was relieved Thursday afternoon to find out the victim was safe.
That matters more than anything to me, knowing that she's okay. Because the way they sped off and the way they put her in the back seat.
And investigators say the victim is from out of town and that she came to the area and has been with these two suspects for a few months now. The sheriff's office is continuing to investigate the circumstances.
Wow. Just wow. I'm just, hey, I'm not used to seeing stuff like this, y'all. I'm not used to it. So, when I look at the brutality of another woman towards another woman, and you're putting another woman in a situation where she's being used for sex, for your own personal gain. I looked at that and I just couldn't fathom what type of monster you would have to be. I always viewed men as being capable of this type of monstrosity. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just a little biased. But I just can never understand. Even now, I know women do this to each other. I know we're the most vicious towards each other. But I just don't understand how you could, as another woman, put another woman through that. How you could just brutally. Did you all see how she was dragging that girl? Oh my goodness. I just wanted to run up in there and punch her. You wanted to punch her. You wanted to just rip her to shreds. Unbelievable. So, looking at this really puts into perspective for me the seriousness of what this young lady, Carlee Russell, it puts into perspective what she did and how she's just cavalierly standing there, not looking like she's sorry, not looking remorseful, but she's standing there actually smiling for her mugshot picture. See, Carlee, maybe you need to see something like this. Maybe you need to see other women that are really being sex trafficked and kidnapped. Maybe you need to see something like this so that you can understand the seriousness of what you did and why you're wrong, and why you wrong for standing there with that smile on your face in this mugshot. Because you did do a lot, you did a huge disservice. You did a huge disservice to a lot of young women that are actually going through this situation, especially African American women. Now, the woman in that clip that I showed you was not an African American woman. She doesn't look like she was an African American woman. The young lady that they were dragging. But these two monsters that they arrested, this is the face of sex traffickers. And so now, you know, it also puts into perspective for me that some of us are the worst. We're the worst. When I think of, you know, how we were oppressed and how we were treated like slave and like chattel and everything else, it just really behooves me how we can put another human being in that same situation. I don't care what race they are. I don't give a damn. Right is right and wrong is wrong. None of these people, these are soulless human beings. And the same emptiness, look at his eyes. There's no soul there. Look at her face. She looks like a demon. These are people with no soul. And then I compare their picture and how they just don't have, they have that I don't give a damn or that clueless look to Carlee standing there smiling in her mugshot. Like, oh, hey, it's just Tuesday. I'm still mommy and daddy's little sweetheart. I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I'm just here to take a photo. Cheese. I mean, this, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I can't fathom how these people can sleep at night knowing what they do. That's what I said, Monique. The guy at the front desk did nothing. According to the video, from what I saw in the video, he was just standing there. I guess maybe she was talking to them, and maybe, just maybe, they didn't like what they were hearing in the conversation, and that's the reason why she was snatched and drugged up out of there and thrown in the backseat of that car. I'm thinking that's what happened. And maybe the front desk guy was smart to stand back, and maybe he was the one that called the police, for all I know. So I can't just assume that he didn't do anything. I don't think he would have been able to take her partner if it came down to blows. I don't think that he even would have been brave enough to do it, because when he was standing there behind the desk, he was frozen. I watched the video over and over again. He was just standing there behind that desk, frozen. Oh yeah, Dragon. Every time we commit crimes, they're going to start putting together new section codes, new statutes, new policies, all of that. Like you said, new section codes, new statutes, new policies coming soon. You best believe, because now we are effectively the face of false phone calls and false police reports. Who was that famous YouTuber where a while back her sister faked her kidnapping? I forget the name of that YouTuber. But you know, it just really behooves me how we can sit up here and just cavalierly take the law for granted, especially as Black women, when we have been desperately trying to be seen as victims when we are actually victims. We're desperately trying to get people to take our situation seriously. And we got so many instances where you have Black women lying about being victims. Now, I will say this, and I was listening to, I was on a panel, and there was a person on the panel, I believe his name was Kevin C., but he did bring up a very interesting point, and I too think it is very suspicious. I think it is very suspicious how, with all these Black women that are missing, that are actual victims of being kidnapped, their stories are actually real. The one time that is fake, it makes national news. I don't think that this was a mistake. I think that this was actually by design, because Carlee Russell isn't the first, and she isn't going to be the last Black woman that comes up missing. Well, Carlee Russell wasn't actually missing, she was lying. But the point is, why Carlee Russell? Why, out of all the real cases that we have on file, does Carlee Russell's case make national news? And see, I wonder which one of you are going to connect the dots. Because I'm not saying that Carlee Russell is not wrong. I'm not saying it at all. I think she's wrong as fucking hell. And that's my stance. She does need to be punished. However, it's suspicious that the one time white America wants to take a Black girl being taken seriously, the one time they do take it seriously, it turns out to be a hoax. And what Kevin C. pointed out was that police have the ability to investigate these crimes, and they pretty much have an idea when something is not on the up and up. So his hypothesis is that they already knew that this was not a true crime. They already knew it was a hoax. That's the reason why they can come out so calmly at the press conference and read off what they read off, because they had been knowing from the very beginning that this was not something to be taken seriously. So I'm finding this to be very, very suspicious, guys. I'm finding this to be very, very suspicious that out of all the legitimate cases, this is the one that Fox, CNN, all the major news stations, they picked up on it. Now, I really expected it to be something that would be an online sensation. I expected that. But when the major news stations picked it up, I got suspicious. And Kevin C. makes a valid point. His hypothesis is they did it just so they could have an excuse. Because for years and years and years, they ignored all of the actual cases of Black women going missing. They ignored us for years and years and years. How many cases of Black women? Let me look it up real quick. How many missing Black women again? How many real cases again? Let's see if I can bring up the stats on this real quick. Number of missing Black women in the U.S. So we have 94,000 Black women and girls missing in this country. And of all of the legitimate cases that we have, we hone in on the one needle in the haystack that happens to be false. All the rest of the hay in the haystack is hay. But they managed to see past all the hay and all the real cases and find the needle in that haystack. And then they plaster it all over national news outlets, not just the internet. Because like I said, I expected it to be an internet sensation. But when CNN picked it up and when Fox picked it up and every night they're talking about it, it's a little suspicious. And it's suspicious because this is the one time you pay attention to a Black woman saying that she's in trouble. And coincidentally, she's lying. And like I said, I don't condone anything that Carlee Russell did, but it's mighty funny that y'all took this case and y'all shined the beam on it. White supremacy took this case and they made sure that they put this on the glass display for everyone to see. And you want to know what I'm hearing them say on Fox News? Oh, this is why, there's such a rift in the race relations when it comes to advocating for young Black girls. They're actually saying this out in the open. So I want you guys to think. Because see, we're used to them doing this to Black men. We're used to them taking Black men and the crimes of the few and making it seem like this is the totality of Black men and how they are. We're used to them doing that to the brothers. Now they're doing it to Black women. Now they're slowly making everybody in the race, men, young Black boys, women, they're making all of us look like degenerates. Why are they doing this? And like I said, they're going to make that one little Carlee Russell case make it seem like all those 94,000 Black women and girls that are missing Well, that's the reason why we don't look for them. And they're going to always refer to the one needle in the haystack that they shined the light on and made sure that they made it national news. They're going to always go back and reference this. And I believe it was done by design. What Carlee Russell did set us back. But here's something that I do want to show you. Hold on a second. I see if I can find it. Where is I go back in my history and see if I can find it. History. Here we go. Vetting. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's my search history. I want to see. Here's a case. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can bring this one up for you. And see, I'm using this not to compare what they do to what we do, but it is to compare how they do them versus how they do us. But there were two cases in particular. There's one case where the white woman, this is back in 2005, I believe. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Runaway bride. Fakes kidnapping. Okay, so I want to compare and contrast something for you right here. Because, see, I'm going somewhere with what I'm telling you because I want you to open your minds. Yes, Carlee Russell absolutely does need to be punished. I think everybody agrees on that. But now I want you to take a gander at this article that I have here. The title is "The Runaway Bride Who Once Faked Her Own Kidnapping to Get Out of a Wedding Is Now Divorced." And this is the lady here. If you can see her face on the stream. So here's a bullet point of what happened. Okay. Jennifer Wilbanks went missing 3 days before her wedding in 2005. So she was missing for 3 whole days. Now y'all sitting up here tripping over Carlee staying gone 2 days. Here this white woman was missing 3 days before her wedding in 2005. After first claiming that she had been kidnapped and sexually assaulted, she finally admitted that she just ran away. 16 years later, Wilbanks gets divorced from a different man. So she was running away from the first man because she didn't want to marry him. But I want to read this one particular thing right here because this right here is very, very, very significant. So after pleading guilty to a felony count of making a false statement, Wilbanks was sentenced to 2 years of probation. So that means she didn't do no jail time. 2 years probation, no jail time. 120 hours of community service. And get this, I'm going to highlight it. And mandatory mental health counseling. Isn't this what I had been saying? That these people that do this they need to have their heads examined. So 2 years probation, 120 hours of community service, mandatory mental health counseling, and she was also ordered to pay the city of Duluth $13,250, and she was ordered to pay the sheriff's office $2,550 to help cover the costs incurred while they searched for her. So that's a hell of a penalty. I don't know too many people that just got $13,000 sitting around. So even without the jail time, that punishment fit the crime because she sat up there and lied. She made a false report. This is what Carlee did. And see, some of y'all are kind of stumped on the fact that she lied and said she saw a toddler. All of that is part of the initial lie. It doesn't matter why she lied or what she said she did. It was a lie. So the only thing that they can charge her for is the lie. It doesn't matter that she, said it was a kid. For those of you slow people that don't understand how the law goes. So that white woman did no jail time. Now, here's another case where a white woman did do jail time, and I'm going to tell you what the difference is and how even in this scenario, the punishment actually fit the crime. So I'm going to go back and find the article about the California woman. So here we go. If you can see the top here, it says, this is from the New York Times. California woman who faked her own abduction gets 18 months in prison. Now that's a year and a half, y'all. And it says here that Sherry Papini disappearance in 2016 prompted an extensive and costly 3-week search. So now we was tripping over Carlee Russell with the 2 days, tripping over the last lady that I told you about with the 3 days. How about 3 weeks of wasted resources? She admitted this year that she had made it all up to collect disability benefits from the Social Security Department. So this right here is very telling. And this is the lady. I'm going to show you a photograph right here. This woman right here. That's Sherry Papini. So she faked her own kidnapping so that she can commit fraud. So you want to know why she got 18 months? How many of y'all are smart enough to know what the difference is? The reason she got 18 months is because not only did she make a false statement in a false report, but she committed fraud, which automatically takes it from being a class A misdemeanor to a felony. And so this is why when people want to throw up that this woman here did 18 months for doing the same thing. No. She did not do the same thing that Carlee Russell did. You have to look at each situation case by case. She got those 18 and a half months because she tried to commit Social Security fraud on top of the false police report. That's the reason why her behind had to sit in jail. Yes, Dragon, the double standard does work against us, and no, we cannot make mistakes. Price is too great. See, when they do it, and here's the other thing. Don't none of y'all know about either of these two women. Somebody said that they remember that case. I couldn't tell you about it. But there's a whole bunch of people that know Carlee Russell's name, and they know her face now. But when their people are caught being bad, you do not have trolls and trolls of white people from the white community going, stone her. We have to see her suffer. They don't do that to their own. You all are pretty much casting up one of your own to the devil as a sacrifice. And what the devil is going to do, because the devil don't never make any, how can I say, fair deals. He's going to take your sacrifice, but he's going to also turn around and make you pay in a different way. And that is making that sacrifice the poster child for your whole group. So that anywhere that somebody looking like her goes, and I'm talking about having brown skin and phenotypically black features like her, basically us, anywhere we go and we try to say that we're being victimized, that we're victims of a crime, we're not going to be taken seriously anymore. And they get to not take you seriously with a clear conscience. Because beforehand, everybody was going on and on and on about all the black women and girls that are missing. And it was making them look bad. They got a lot of bad press for that. So now they can just wipe the sweat off of their brow like, whoo, I got a clear conscience. We got a sacrificial lambs and the black people are giving her to us. And we're not fair. Not only will we take their sacrifice, it doesn't matter how much they publicly shame her. It doesn't matter how much they say what she did is wrong. Now we can, with a clear conscience, ignore their issues and just say, hey, we don't have to take it seriously because of the one thing that happened with this one person. So, when I see black people so anxious to see another black person get hung at the gallows, and I don't know who I was on the phone with. I think it was either CK or BMT, but we talked about that. When there were lynchings, did you know that there were other black people in the crowd holding their pitchfork, talking about, yeah, hang that nigga? And see, I keep telling y'all that the more things change, the more they stay the same. I didn't know that. A lot of the documentations are kept away at the Library of Congress. But if you read up on it, you would find out that there were other black people out there in the white lynch mob during a lot of those lynchings. And they were right with the white people, thinking that this was justified to do. to somebody that looked like them, and they didn't think that they would like that nigga over there that they was hanging. They didn't think that it could happen to them. Because we are so blinded by our own hatred towards each other. We can't see the wheel spinning on the other side. See, I keep telling y'all, they're always playing checkers. I mean, they're always playing chess. They're always playing chess while we're over here playing checkers. They're always 10 moves ahead before we realize what's happening. Because we're always distracted by bullshit. Now, I will give it to black women. When black men are in trouble, we have been of a mindset where, you know, we need to unite. We need to unify. We need to make sure that our brothers are okay. But never have we done this for black women. Even other black women don't like other black women to the point where they will send one up as a sacrificial lamb. So a young black girl ain't gonna get a break in this life with them odds. Because if she go to mommy, she gonna get slapped just as well as if she got slapped from daddy. So if she just got slapped from daddy, if she turn around and think that she's gonna get any type of help from mommy, she's gonna get slapped from her too. That's the black community when it comes to dealing with black girls. And what's sad is not all black girls are Carlee Russell. And what's sad is if she can't talk to you as a black man, she definitely can't talk to you as a black woman. There's no such thing as a sisterhood. Sisterhood is so fake. Sisterhood looks like that black woman in the video that I just showed you earlier, dragging that young woman by the hair. But just imagine if it were another black woman. That's what the sisterhood is. Sisterhood is black women getting married and then flaunting their love and their ring and my husband. You got to hear that. But they're doing it in front of single women only. You got to understand the psychological thing that goes on with the sisterhood, the fakeness of a sisterhood. There's no sisterhood. And there's no community. Because we can't lean on each other. A community is a group of people that you can lean on. Like, hey, I know if I can't get support from anybody else, I can get support from my community. The black community don't support each other on nothing. We're so hateful that we are distracted by that hate. I believe that this is a case of us being distracted by our own hate for each other. And I especially hear it when I hear black men talking. Oh, yeah. Hold her accountable. Put your foot on her neck. Don't let up. Punish her to the full extent of the law, white man. Even though that might not be fair to her. I heard somebody say, I want her put away for 10 years. 10 years for filing a false police report? Like, some of y'all really need to get a grip on yourselves. The hate is blinding you from what's really going on. And see, even now, y'all don't want to talk about that. Nobody's talking about that in the chat room, because y'all going to continue to be blinded by hate, and they're going to keep popping us off one by one. They're going to keep popping us off one by one. You want to know why it's going to be easy for them to do? Because we're going to keep serving each other up as sacrifices to the white devil. Ooh, I'm a black man that hate black women. Get that bitch. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Get her. Whoop that trick. Get her. Whoop that trick. Get her. We're blinded by that hate. And if it's a black man, going through something, then you got the black women blinded by hate. Oh, he's just the scourge of the earth. He was jaywalking. Oh, white zaddy. Whoop that trick. Get him. Whoop that trick. Get him. And it be so uncalled for. It be ridiculous. The punishment not fitting the crime in none of the scenarios that I just mentioned. But y'all got the torches and the pitchforks out anyway. Y'all done got the rope. Y'all done showed Massa where the gallows is. Y'all done tied folks up and put them in the back of the truck and drove them over there. Because you hate filled. When all the person did was probably got arrested for jaywalking. Now, I said it over there at Chantel's panel. Carlee does need to face some sort of retribution for what she did. I think that she needs probation. She needs definitely to pay a fine. Community service for sure. She need to be out there cleaning that highway that she lied on. She need to be out there cleaning that highway and all the gullies and everything else. And she need court-ordered mental treatment. The same thing that they gave to the runaway bride. Because it's tit for tat. It's within the realm of the law. That's why we have laws. I'm so glad that none of you create the laws, especially when it comes to black people. Like I said in my previous video, I used to say that if I did something and I had to go before a jury, I used to always say, I hope I get a jury of my peers. I hope I get black people. Now I'm looking at how y'all are and how anxious some of y'all are to have a nigga hung by the gallows for for eating crackers in bed. Hell. You will have a nigga hung by the gallows for eating crackers in bed. Hell no, I don't want no jury of my peers. I think I'll just roll the dice. Because some of y'all just hate filled. Hatch Dragon says, at the Faith Factor, I agree with some of your points. It's true, Black women are targeted. Yeah, and Black men are targeted. Look, our whole group has been targeted. So in knowing the history of how unfair they are to us, we need to slow down. We need to be careful about sending our people up as human sacrifices. And when it comes to their community, they are really, really they're really down with the mental health thing. They always send their people off to see a psychiatrist to be rehabilitated. And we need to advocate for the same for ours. I want to see all of us doing better. I want to see all of us in a better frame of mind, better economically, better with our morality. I want to see us doing good. I don't want to see Black men out here suffering or another sister out here suffering. But the same anger and vitriol with what you saw how that sister was dragging that woman out of that hotel by her hair. That's how we are with each other. 24/7. We don't cut each other a break. Other groups can see their mother, their brother, their sister, their aunt, their father, their grandmother, their grandfather in other people that look like them. And I don't know, call me crazy, but when I'm driving and I see an old homeless man in the street with the gray hair and he looks all withered and worn down, you know, I think of my grandfather. When I see a young woman out here and she looks like she's struggling, I think of my daughter. But some of y'all see that and you're glad. Some of y'all divestors or Black women that hang with divestors, y'all will see an old Black man in the street suffering, homeless, hungry, and you're glad. Because you just don't like Black men. I'm going to just be honest with you. Some of y'all don't. Some of y'all love to see the brother suffering. You don't see or you don't have any familial connections with each other. We don't have that anymore with each other. We're not a family anymore. We're not a community anymore. There is no brotherhood. There is no sisterhood. That's the reason why, I get so upset when someone comes to me talking about a sisterhood. What sisterhood? When I sit on panels with Black women who have no kind of, how can I say, sympathy for other Black women. You don't have no sympathy and no empathy for your fellow woman. I think that's a problem. And the same thing with the brothers. Y'all don't have no sympathy or empathy either for each other.
because you all don't like to work together. You can't get black men to get together to do nothing. And when you do, it makes national news like the Million Man March because it's so rare. And I'm tired of that. You know, earlier today when Topaz was on the panel, she says something that just will forever stick with me. And she said, you know what? We don't have any type of what was it she say? Was it tradition, or we don't have oh goodness, I always get these little brain farts. We don't have our own culture. I believe it was something along that effect. We don't have a set standard. That's what it was. She said we don't have a set standard in Black society on how we want to run our culture. And that will forever sit with me because she's so right about that. And when someone talks about having a standard and they try to implement it, they're ostracized. So here we are. Here we are trying to create a culture. We're trying to create a standard with each other, but we can't agree on what those standards should be. And then when we do kind of sort of agree on a few standards, people that try to implement the standards that we allegedly agreed on, we want to go ahead and demonize the person. Just like for years, Black men said Black women need to choose better. And I this mantra, I used to go to sleep and wake up and hear, you should have chose better. I kid you not. I think I had a dream one time and some Black man walked up to me and said, you should have chose better. I mean, you heard that mantra over and over and over and over again. But then when Black women say, okay, let me see what I have to choose from. All right, well, I can't choose that Black man because according to the standards that Black men allegedly came up with, you know, he's a pookie. And, you know, I'm not supposed to choose a pookie. So he's eliminated. That's about half an elimination right there. So then when Black women start eliminating you all, and some of you all were coming up short because you weren't qualified based off of the standards that we all agreed on is the alleged choose better standards. When Black women began to choose better, then the goalposts moved. And the mantra shifted from you got to choose better to your standards are too high. Who the hell do you think you are? You're average at best. You need to be a little bit more realistic about them standards right there. Them standards right there, it's a little bit too high. So now we don't hear choose better anymore. Y'all don't even deem to say choose better anymore. I haven't heard choose better in over a year or more, as a matter of fact. And ladies, you can attest to this. Demetrius says choose better means choose me with the fuckboy face. Right. So when they say choose better, it just means they want you to choose them, even though they may not be better. So now we don't hear the term choose better anymore. Like I said, it's been over a year since I've heard that term. Now it's, well, you know, your standard's a little bit too high there. Average at best. Elephant music. Boom, 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 boom. Now we're lowering the self-esteem so she can choose me. Because some of you realized that you weren't better. So now you got to undo the bullshit that you did. BMT said, I just learned to take whatever. Now you got to undo all that because you spent years and years saying choose better. And when she started to choose better, she didn't choose you. And some of you had to go in the mirror and be like, yeah, you know what? We told her to choose better and she did. And guess what? Now I'm not qualified. Oops. Oopsie, I made a poopsie. How do we fix this little carfuncle? Oh, I know. Let's get a fairy guy with kitten heels and he can get us out of this mess. Dragon, it's too late. Look, now y'all running around here. I don't claim Manosphere Red Pill. I don't claim that shit. Not me. It wasn't me. O'Shea wiggling his ass up out of there. O'Shea like, no, not me. I don't know what that is. Angry man on his own. Y'all funny. But getting back to the main topic, you know, it's stuff like this that distracts us from what's going on. I don't really like the gender warring thing that we continuously do. It takes away from us coming together to make actual, to have actual standards and develop a healthy culture for our community, to build a community, to build a brotherhood, to build a sisterhood for real that protects us from deviance like the one that I showed you, from deviance like these two right here. Actually, do you know that it's people like this that's setting the standards for us? Because we got a lot of sexual deviants running around the space. Ex-hookers and prostitutes. Ex-pimps. Pedophiles. Baddie boys. It's people like these two that's actually setting the standards for us because they're louder and some of them are more aggressive. And they'll drag you kicking and screaming to bend to their will. And some of them are very articulate. Some of them know how to talk a good game. Not every bad guy sounds like a bad guy. And they got the gift for gab, and they're on their panels 24 hours a day, grooming grown ass adults, rocking you straight to sleep, giving you the evil is good sermon. And you go home singing the evil is good, evil is good. And you got the evil is good hymn going through your mind. because they done successfully sat here and groomed you. So now your whole way of thinking is all messed up. And I saw that especially with Kitten Hills. I saw that especially with how Kevin Samuels was laying down what he was laying down, especially at one particular time when he was trying to lay it down. What if your daughter was in the shower and she came out and said that, oh, hey, your husband, because it's not his daughter, by the way, but your husband looked at or touched me in the shower. Who would you believe? And then he tried to groom you, and he did successfully groom a lot of y'all to the point where some of you saw that clip and wouldn't even mention it. That's how bad it was. And to this day, he is Saint Kevin. So it is definitely possible for grown-ass men to be groomed and grown-ass women to be groomed. Right, Demetrius. Demetrius said, yeah, that was distasteful and very shameful. And there were others before him who wasn't as slick-tongued as Kevin was, because Kevin was very slick with the tongue. He even convinced a lot of you that, what did he used to call it? Domestic discipline, aka domestic violence, was okay. He was so slick-tongued that a lot of y'all let that fly under the radar. And a lot of the women that were in that camp, the Melanie Kings and all of those people that claim that they dutifully learned under him, the Miss Pearly things and all of these people, they just glossed right over stuff like that. Hash Dragon says, I was never on the Kevin Samuels train. Thank goodness you dodged a bullet. And then you got a lot of new people coming in, and they only seen a few things from Kevin Samuels that was allowed to stay open to the public, open and available to the public. So now new people are coming, and they don't know the type of grooming that was going on when this guy first came on the scene. So they're stupidly jumping on the Kevin Samuels bandwagon later. But there's still clips of Kevin sitting on that panel grooming folks, and people were sitting in the audience loving it. And so we get distracted real easy. We're easily distracted by our hatred for each other, our desire to see the pimps up, hold down, or just the desire to see your team winning. That you don't understand that the entire community is up in flames, and we've been burning for a minute. We've been taking losses for a minute. And nobody is thinking to put out the fire. Nobody is putting out the flames because they too distracted by the smoke. You're on fire, but instead of focusing on the fire, you're more focused on the smoke that's actually created by the fire. And that smoke is your own ass burning. But you're distracted. And instead of pulling your fellow brother or sister out of that fire, you're actually fanning the flame. And while you're fanning the flame on her, she's fanning the flame on you. And you're both cooking like a rotisserie pig. And we can't see what's going on the outside because it's too much smoke. We're coughing, we're distracted, but we can't see on the outside. The devils on the outside are pouring more gasoline onto the fire. And they're in safety, but you're locked in the house. You're locked in a burning house. Talking about accountability. So let's just visualize this whole situation. You're on fire, she's on fire. But instead of trying to put out the fire, you're fanning each other's flames because you want him to burn and you want him to suffer. You want her to burn, you want her to suffer. And everybody's burning and suffering in that bitch. We've been burning and suffering for a long time. And it's not by our own hand, and some of it is by our own hand. Some of us are even helping to set the thing on fire because we say, let the community burn. So that's the reason why I get so angry when someone comes to me talking about a community, a sisterhood. You know, what sisterhood? The sisterhood ain't did shit for me. I'm over here on fire. I need the sisterhood to put me out. And them bitches is throwing gasoline on me. What sisterhood? I'm asking for water and you throw gasoline on me. Talking about, bitch, you need to be held accountable. Well, what did I do? You just disagreed with me. Well, damn. I thought everybody was entitled to their opinion. I'm digressing. I'm digressing though. But it is like that. It is like that. Let's see. Demetrius says that's what my question is, Faith. If men stop burning, do women inadvertently win? Yes. Because if our men are healthy, then they can reach back. And I know black men are the most loving men by nature. By nature, you're loving. Now, by nurture, when you guys are not in a loving environment, yeah, you can be hell. But the black men that I've had the pleasure of dealing with, the most loving men that I ever known in my life. And so when you all are doing good and when you all are well, you will reach back and you will help your sisters. Majority of you would. I do believe that. There's some people that's going to hear this and be like, oh, Faith is a pick-me and this, that, and the other. You all are taking for granted the black men that you know in your life are good men. And some of you were surrounded by some good men. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't those of you who aren't surrounded by good men. But you know good black men. But the hatred in your heart will not allow you to acknowledge them. Just like a lot of black men know good black women. And you know black women have been in your corner and been down from you from day one. Out there marching and getting punched on and shot in the head and all this other stuff. Taking bullets for you. Becoming bulletproof vests for you. A lot of you know that you have good women. But the hatred in your heart will not allow you to acknowledge them. And so that keeps us blocked from each other. We spend so much time focusing on the bad seeds, which are very few, that we don't see the goodness that's right there in the midst. And a lot of you black men distracted by the big butt and the smile, or that stripper at the club and what her body looked like, to the point where now a regular woman not gonna do for you. Yes, Mike Johnson. I said it the other way around too. I don't know if you heard it or not, but I do understand it goes both ways. But I'm a woman, so I view the world through the lens of a woman. So y'all gotta forgive me. Right, Hash Dragon. That is the key. Hash Dragon says, I have a healthy view of black women because I mainly deal with healthy black women. I have no complaints. Exactly. Oh, no problem, Mike Johnson. No problem. See, those of us that have healthy relationships with the opposite sex, we're not going to have as many complaints. Because as I stated earlier in the first stream, if you surround yourself by negative and toxic people all the time, that's what you're going to think it only exists, and that's what you're getting used to. It's like constantly feeding yourself bad food. Your body gets used to that bad food. And so you're wondering how come your body is functioning the way that it's functioning and it's breaking down. It's because of the bad food that you're putting into it. If you surround yourself with toxic people, that is going to break down your mental and your psyche. Because we're not built to function in toxicity all the time. That's the reason why stress kills. And so we as a black people in the black community, we need to decide. We need to start, really, really making the decision. What is it that we want for our people? What type of standards do we want to have for our culture so that we can have a better community? And once we create those standards, are we going to enforce them? Meaning that if we tell black women to choose better, we're not going to later on, because we're not benefiting, ostracize that black woman for choosing better. And if we tell black men that they need to be faithful husbands and they need to be fathers to their children, we're not going to ostracize him when he does so. Because we have a lot of people out here trying to do right. But if a black man sees another black man happy in his marriage and he's there for his family first, he puts his family first, he's going to call that man a simp. And then therefore that man gets ostracized for doing the right thing. So if we want a better standard and a better culture, we got to start, complimenting people that want to do the right thing. We need to encourage people more to do what is right. But instead, people that's tearing down the culture, we're sitting up here cheering them on. The black woman that has a body out of this world, or one of those freak bodies that y'all like, if she turn around one time and give you booty cheek action and start making the cheeks clap, you're gonna forget that she's doing it in public. You're gonna forget that it's making black women look bad. You're gonna forget everything and start cheering her on because you like to see the booty clap. I don't care who you are. And you guys will stand together and watch that. Send it to each other in videos and secretly go do whatever you do, and you will condone it. And then after she get through clapping her booty and making her money, she can then go get a YouTube channel, and now she can talk to y'all so long as she shows a little leg and thigh and some cleavage every now and then. And you reward her with your money, with your views, with you're sitting there and giving her the thumbs up, the like, and chatting in the chat room. Yeah, go girl, and all this type of stuff. You're encouraging her. So what is the incentive to do right when there's always an incentive to do wrong? So this is why I said, it's people like this that's actually setting the standard for the community. Now they look dusty, right? But some of y'all look rather nice. Y'all don't look dusty, but some of y'all are dusty. And y'all participate in some pretty dusty behavior. So it's not about what it look like, it's what it act like. And this is what I believe Topaz was talking about earlier as far as the standard. There's never going to be a standard. Because as soon as you all make a rule, somebody follows the rule, all of a sudden that person is ostracized. You tell single mothers, hey, stop glorifying single motherhood. So then you get a single mother that goes online and she's on your side. She's not glorifying single motherhood, but whenever she comes into your space, you want to dog her out for being a single mother to begin with, even though she's no longer advocating for it because she's trying to enforce the standard. But now you all have made her regret speaking up because you're too blinded by your hatred. But I can go on and on with examples of how we're never going to move forward as a community because we can never, ever get these standards enforced. that we claim we want because we too busy fighting. People that's actually digging the standard and seeing the vision for the future, they're not perfect. But if they can acknowledge, hey, you know what? I was wrong, especially a woman. A woman can never acknowledge that she was wrong in the past. And she wants to pick up and do right and encourage the right thing because you all are sitting and beat her down. Now, mind you, this woman is the mother of the next generation. So if you can get these women on board, they're going to teach that message to the children that she has. But she's never going to be on board because y'all too busy beating her down. You're not actually hearing what she's saying when she comes to you and says, you know what? You're absolutely right. I was a single mother. As soon as she says I was a single mother, you got no less than 1,000 numbskulls running in to beat her down. And now she's traumatized. And what's she going to do with them 4 kids that she's raising? She's going to raise them to stay the hell away from you and your ideologies. So this is how nothing ever gets enforced. Because now she legitimately has a gripe against you. And y'all make more enemies than you do friends here. I just want to throw that out as well. That is the reason why the birth of Cynthia G happened and the birth of these divestors happened. They are a direct birth of the hate that a lot of y'all gave. Hate begets hate. Rinse and repeat. But at any rate, guys, I need to get up off of here. I need to carry my behind to sleep because I need to get up early. But this has been the Faith Factor. Please like and share the video. And also, if you're listening on a replay, hit the super thanks. And with that, I want to say peace. Love each and every one of you. And I am out. Holla.